Hello everybody. In the last class, we have started discussing about the capacitors. That is, we have discussed what is meant by capacitor, what is meant by capacitance, and we have also discussed the points regarding the construction of capacitor, that is a parallel plate capacitor, and also we have discussed the factors that affect capacitance, and we have concluded with an expression regarding the capacitance, that is C is equal to epsilon A by D, where epsilon is equal to epsilon naught. Epsilon naught is a expression that what we have discussed or derived in the previous video. And in the today's session, we'll try to learn some of the basic points regarding the types of capacitors. That is, the classification of capacitors will be discussed in today's video. And coming to the learning objectives of today's video, we'll discuss the different types of capacitors. In that, we'll discuss what is meant by dielectric capacitor, film capacitor, ceramic capacitors, and electrolytic capacitors, and their constructional view and as well as their basic properties will be discussed in today's video. Okay, so let's start our discussion, that is classification of capacitors. The types of capacitors. In general, as you can see on the screen, there are different types of capacitors that are available in the market, where each one has its own set of characteristics and application. The types of capacitors available range from very small delicate trimming capacitor using in oscillator or radio circuits, and up to a large power metal can type capacitors used in high voltage power correction and smoothing circuits. Okay, so in the market we have various numbers of capacitors are available with us, right from very small application, that is like a small trimming capacitor what we use in radio or oscillator circuits, to very large sized capacitor which are used in high voltage power applications. Okay, so you might have seen some of the shown capacitors in one or other circuit, so work acting as a capacitor. Altogether, capacitor is nothing but a device or a component which can store electrical energy that can be used to supply or that can be used to drive the electronic circuit which is connected to it. The comparisons between the different types of capacitor is generally made with the regards to the dielectric between the plates. Like what we see in resistors, there are also variable types of capacitors which allow us to vary their capacitance value for use in radio or frequency tuning type of circuits. Okay, commercial types of capacitors are made from metallic foil interlaced with the thin sheets of either paraffin paper or mylar as a dielectric material, while some capacitor look like tubes. This is because the metal foil plates are rolled up into a cylinder to form a small package with the insulating dielectric material sandwiched in between them. So whatever may be the construction, either it may look like foil or it may be turned in the form of a cylinder. So capacitor consists of two plates, and between the two plates there will be a dielectric. Some small sized capacitors are often constructed from the ceramic materials and then dipped into some epoxy resin to seal them. capacitor plays an important role in electronic circuit. So that is why we'll try to discuss some of the basic types of or some of the common types of capacitors that are available with us, and the most commonly used capacitors in the electronic circuits will be discussed in this video. Okay, so let's see the first type of capacitor, that is dielectric capacitors. So dielectric capacitors are usually of the variable type. Like the resistors, we have capacitors are of two types. One is fixed capacitor, the other one is a variable capacitor. The fixed capacitor is nothing but the value of the capacitor is fixed, whereas the variable capacitor, the value of the capacitor can be changed according to the application. Okay, so when coming to the dielectric capacitor, we see this dielectric capacitor to be a variable type. That is, a continuous variation of capacitance is required for tuning either in the transmitters, receivers, transition radios, etc. Okay, variable dielectric capacitors are multi-plate airspace tubes that have a set of fixed plates and a set of movable plates which move in between the fixed plates. Okay, the position of the moving plates with respect to the fixed plates determines the overall capacitance. The capacitance is generally at maximum when the two sets of plates are fully meshed together. High voltage type tuning capacitors have relatively large spacings, or we call it as air gaps, between the plates, with the breakdown voltage reaching many thousands of volts. Okay, dielectric capacitors are the variable kind of capacitors what we see, and coming to its operation type, here we have set of fixed plates and set of movable plates. The movable plates will be moving on the fixed plates. When the complete overlap of fixed plates on the movable plates is done, we find a maximum capacitance. So here you can observe the capacitance is generally maximum when the two sets of plates are completely overlapping each other. So when the movable plates come across the fixed plates completely, then we can say that the capacitor is now showing its maximum capacitance value. So here another point to be noted is that as well as continuously variable types, preset type variable capacitors are also available, and these are called as trimmers. So trimmers is the most common term that we may come across when we deal with electronic circuits. So trimmers are nothing but the variable type of capacitors. These are generally small size devices that can be adjusted or preset to any particular capacitance value with the help of some small screwdriver, and are available with very small capacitances of 500 picofarads or less, and are non-polarized kind of capacitors. Okay, so altogether dielectric capacitor is a variable kind, and the capacitance will be maximum when both the fixed plates and movable plates completely overlap each other. Right, so this is all about dielectric capacitor. Next we'll move on with the other type of capacitor, and that capacitor is nothing but film capacitor. The film capacitors are the most commonly type of all the type of capacitors. These consist of a very large family of capacitors, and with the difference being in their dielectric properties. Okay, so there are a large variety of capacitors are available in this category based upon the dielectric medium what we use. So depending upon the dielectric material that we use, the film capacitor will be classified according to it. So these film capacitors include polyester, polystyrene, polypropylene, polycarbonate, metallized paper, Teflon, etc. So all these materials, what I told just now, can be used as dielectric. So based on the dielectric material that is selected, the name of that particular capacitor will be decided. The film type capacitors are generally available in the ranges from very small values, that is from as small as 5 picofarads to as large as 100 microfarads, depending upon the actual size of the capacitor and its voltage rating. Okay, so the advantage of film type capacitor is this, that is from very small values to very large values, the capacitor sizes are available. These film type capacitors will come in different styles and shapes. Okay, so basically 3 different shapes are available. The first one is wrap and fill, that is oval and round, where the capacitor is wrapped in a tight plastic tape and have the ends filled with epoxy to seal them. So this type of construction we call it as wrap and fill. So wrapping of the capacitor in a plastic tape and filling the ends with the epoxy and sealing them. Next one is epoxy case. So here in this type, the capacitor is encased in a molded plastic shell which is then filled with epoxy. So this is the difference, where in the previous case the ends will be filled with epoxy. Here the epoxy will be filled in the molded plastic shell. So that is called as epoxy case. And the third type or the third shape in which film type capacitor can be constructed is metal hermetically sealed. That is, here the capacitor is encased in the metal tube or a can and again it is sealed with epoxy. Okay, so these are the 3 different styles in which a film type capacitor can be constructed. So the above 3 styles what we have mentioned is now just now are available in both aerial leads and radial leads. What is meant by aerial and axial lead is shown here in this diagram. So the film capacitors which uses polystyrene, polycarbonate or Teflon as a dielectric are sometimes called as plastic capacitors. The construction of the plastic film capacitor is similar to that of paper film capacitors, but use a plastic film instead of paper. Okay, the main advantage of plastic film capacitors compared with paper types is that the plastic film operate well under conditions of high temperatures, have smaller tolerances and have very long service life and have high reliability. Okay, that is this is the advantage of plastic film capacitor, that is they can withstand temperatures, have smaller tolerances, long service life and high reliability are the advantages for plastic film capacitors. So on the screen you can see the radial type and the axial lead type. So where the wire leads in the radial type, it is plated on the surface, either any rectangular surface on which a dielectric layer is coated, and on the dielectric layer the metal film electrodes will be implanted. Whereas in the axial lead type the same thing happens, but that will be wrapped in the shape of a foil. Okay, the film and foil types of capacitors are made from long thin strips of thin metal foil with the dielectric materials sandwiched together, which are wound in a tight roll and then sealed in papers or any metal tubes. Okay, these film types require much thicker dielectric film to reduce the risk of tears or any holes or punctures in the film, and is therefore more suitable for lower capacitance values and large size cases. Okay, so the film types are more suitable for lower capacitances values and with the large sizes. Okay, so metallized foil capacitors have the conductive film metallized sprayed directly on each side of the dielectric, which gives the capacitor self-heating properties and therefore can use much thinner dielectric films. So this allows higher capacitance values and smaller case sizes for a given capacitance. Okay, the film and foil capacitors are generally used for high power and more precise applications. Okay, so this is all about film type capacitors. That is, in the film type capacitors what we have discussed is the film type capacitors have a variety number of capacitors based upon the dielectric material that we use. Film type capacitors are available from very small range to the very high values, that is from 5 picofarads to 100 microfarads are available, and this film type capacitors can be constructed in different styles and shapes, and the film type capacitors have the plastic film and the paper film, where the plastic film have some advantages when compared with paper films. And also we have discussed that this type of capacitors, film capacitors, are very much suitable for lower capacitance values and they have larger size cases, as it is made up of film. Maybe because of the risk of tears and punctures, we generally go for low capacitance values. And the film or the foil capacitors are generally used for high power and also more precise applications. Okay, so this is all about the film capacitor, and one kind of film capacitor is shown on the screen. Okay, so this is all about film type capacitors. Next is ceramic capacitors. So this is also one of the most common type of capacitor that we see, and that is nothing but the ceramic capacitor. If I show you the diagram, you can clearly understand. So this is the one we most commonly use or see in any electronic circuit. This kind of some disc type capacitor what we see is nothing but the ceramic capacitor. Now we'll see what are the important points regarding the ceramic capacitors. Ceramic capacitors are also called as disc type of capacitors because they are made by coating the two sides with a small amount of porcelain or ceramic disc with silver, and then they are put together to make a capacitor. Okay, so the two discs we make it by coating the two sides of a disc with silver and we place them together. That is, we take a disc and on the two sides we coat it with silver, and that forms a capacitor. If we see for low capacitance values, a single ceramic disc is about 3 to 6 mm is used. Ceramic capacitors have the advantage like it has high dielectric constant, and these are available in very high capacitance range and can be obtained in small physical size. Okay, so this is the advantage for ceramic or disc capacitor. That is, we will have high dielectric constant, will have high capacitance values, and that too will have very small physical size. Okay, and also they exhibit large nonlinear changes in the capacitance against temperature, and as a result are used as decoupling or bypass capacitors, and there are also non-polarized devices. Okay, so the non-linear changes that we see in this kind of capacitors is making it used as decoupling or bypass capacitors, and the point to be noted is that these are non-polarized devices. Okay, so next coming to the other points, like ceramic capacitors will have values ranging from few picofarads to 1 or 2 microfarads. Some pico means 10 power minus 12. So picofarads to some 1 or 2 microfarads. But coming to the voltage ratings, they are quite low. So the voltage ratings are quite low. In general, ceramic capacitors have a 3-digit code printed on the body to identify the capacitance value in the picofarads. So if you observe here, there will be a 3-digit code that will be printed on the body of the capacitor in order to identify or to calculate the value of the capacitor. So what is the meaning of this value, or what does the number indicate? We'll just know. Generally, the first 2 digits, that is here 1 and 5, the first 2 digits indicate the capacitor value, and the third indicates the number of zeros that are to be added. Okay, so for example, a ceramic disc capacitor with a marking of 103 is given. Then what we write is, we write 10 and after that 3 zeros in picofarads, which is equivalent to 10,000 picofarads or 10 nanofarads. Okay, so as these are available in picofarads only, so we write it as first 2 digits as pico, and the first 2 digits will be written, and after that one, the third digit indicates the number of zeros that are to be added to the first 2 digits. So for example, if we take 154, or else if we take 104, as just now we have taken 103, no? So while we'll take 104. So if we take 104, the first 2 digits, that is 10 will indicate the first 2 digits, and 4 will indicate the number of zeros in picofarads, and what we write is 10 picofarads. That is, we say it as 1 lakh picofarads, or simply 100 nanofarads. So on the image on the screen, you can see 154, that is indicating 15. After 15 you write 4 zeros, that is 150000, that is 1,50,000 picofarads or 150 nanofarads. Okay, got the point? So just by seeing the values of just by seeing the numbers that are printed on the body of the capacitor, we can calculate the value of the capacitor. Okay, for the ceramic capacitors. So the letter codes are sometimes used to indicate the tolerance values, such as J, K, M, or etc. Some letters will also be written on the ceramic capacitors to indicate the tolerance values. Same like that of resistors, the tolerances values will be up 5, 10 or 20%. If you see a letter J on the body, you consider it as 5% tolerance. If you see a letter K, it is 10% tolerance. If it is M, 20% tolerance. Okay, so J, K, M, 5, 10, 20% are the three tolerances values that can be seen on the body of the capacitor. By remembering these letters J, K, M, you can identify the tolerances values also. Okay, so these are the points regarding ceramic capacitors, that is ceramic or disc are the smallest kind, and they are available from very small values, and these capacitors have dielectric constant, and these have very high capacitance and also available in small sizes. These exhibit non-linear changes and are used in decoupling and bypass capacitors. Okay, so the value of the ceramic capacitor will be printed on the body itself with a 3-digit number, and the 3 digits will give us the value of the capacitor. Sometimes alphabets will also be some letters will also be there, like J, K, M, which shows the tolerance factors of that particular capacitor. Okay, so this is all about ceramic capacitor. Next comes the electrolytic capacitor. So till now we have discussed the capacitors which can have smaller values, like we have seen dielectric capacitor and ceramic capacitor. These two capacitors are mainly used when smaller values of capacitances are used. Here comes the capacitor which can be used when larger capacitance values are required. So instead of using the other two, we use the electrolytic capacitors when we require higher values of capacitances. Okay, so let's start our discussion regarding electrolytic capacitors. So electrolytic capacitor, as you see on the screen, this is one of the kind of electrolytic capacitor. So I guess most of you people have seen this kind of capacitors in any electronic board or in any laboratory. You might have seen this kind of capacitors. These capacitors are nothing but electrolytic capacitors. Okay, so coming to the electrolytic capacitors, these are generally used when large capacitance values are required. So hence, instead of using very thin metallic film for one of the electrodes, a semi-liquid electrolyte solution in the form of a jelly or a paste is used, which serves as a second electrode. That is, usually we call it as cathode. Okay, so what we see for film type is we use a metallic layer. Instead of that, we use a jelly-like solution which is acting as an electrolyte, which serves as a second electrolyte, is used in electrolytic capacitors. The dielectric is very thin layer of oxide which is grown electrochemically in production with the thickness of the film being less than 10 microns. The insulating layer is so thin that it is possible to make capacitors with large value of capacitor for small physical size, and the distance between the plates, that is D, is very small. So as the insulating layer is very thin, the small capacitance values within the small physical size, a large value of capacitances can be developed in the electrolytic capacitors. We see the majority of the electrolytic capacitors are polarized. That is, the DC voltage applied to the capacitive terminals must be of the correct polarity. That is, positive to the positive terminal should be connected and negative to the negative terminal should be connected. As an incorrect polarization will break down the insulating oxidized layer and permanent damage may result. That is why these capacitors, majority of the capacitors are polarized. So any change in the connections, that is the positive negative connections, if we fail to connect it properly, the polarization what we have done to the inner layers, that is will break down the insulating oxide layer, and permanently the damage will be occurring to the capacitor, that is the permanent damage will be done to the capacitor. Also, the polarized electrolytic capacitors have their polarity clearly marked with a negative sign to indicate the negative terminal, and this polarity must be followed definitely, otherwise it will not function properly. Okay, so electrolytic capacitors are generally used in DC power supplies due to the large capacitance values and small size, and help to reduce the ripple voltage or for coupling and decoupling applications. But there is a disadvantage for the electrolytic capacitor, that is they have relatively low voltage rating, and due to the polarization of the electrolytic capacitors, it follows that they must not be used in AC supplies. Okay, this is the main disadvantage what we see for electrolytic capacitor. I repeat, they have very low voltage rating. This is one disadvantage, and due to the polarization what we use for electrolytic capacitor, this kind of capacitors must not be used in AC supplies. Okay, so electrolytic capacitors have advantages as well as disadvantages, like within the small size we can have large values of capacitances is one of the advantage for the electrolytic capacitors, and the disadvantage is also the same thing, that is it will have a low voltage rating, and because of the polarity, proper polarization polarity values should be maintained, and because of this we cannot connect this kind of capacitors for AC supplies. Okay, these are the points that should be kept in mind regarding electrolytic capacitor. So if you see an electrolytic capacitor, you can see the symbols. This is how we represent an electrolytic capacitor, and this is how the two terminals, this is a negative terminal, this we see it as positive terminal. So inside which you see this yellow color layer which is called as electrolyte, and beside that you see some two green layers. These are nothing but aluminum foil electrodes. So and also a gray layer you see, that is aluminum oxide film. This is nothing but the dielectric. So the green ones are nothing but electrodes, and the gray one is called as dielectric, and the yellow one is nothing but the electrolytic separator. Okay, so this is how internally electrolytic capacitor look like. And coming to the symbols, this is nothing but the symbol for the electrolytic capacitor. For electrolytic capacitor, as it is polarized capacitor, compulsorily positive negative terminal connections should be maintained properly. And coming to the types of electrolytic capacitors, these capacitors generally come in two different forms. That is, first one is aluminum electrolytic capacitors, and the second one is tantalum electrolytic capacitors. So we'll discuss main points regarding both of these. Okay, the first we'll discuss what is aluminum electrolytic capacitors. So these are basically there are basically two types of aluminum electrolytic capacitor. First one is plain foil type, and the second one is etched foil type. Okay, aluminum electrolytic capacitors will be of two types. First one is plain foil type, second one is etched foil type. Okay, coming to the advantage of aluminum electrolytic capacitor, the thickness of the aluminum oxide film and high breakdown voltage gives these capacitors very high capacitance values for their sizes. Okay, so because of the aluminum oxide film that we are using and the high breakdown voltage, the capacitors will have high capacitance values. Okay, coming to the foil type of capacitors, the foil plates of the capacitors are ionized with DC current. This ionizing process sets up the polarity of the plate materials and determines which side of the plate is positive and which side of the plate is negative. Okay, because of the ionization of the DC current, anodizing process, we can identify which side is positive and which side is negative. And coming to the etched foil type, it will be differing from the plain foil type in that aluminum oxide on the anode and cathode foils has been chemically etched to increase its surface area and also permittivity. This gives a smaller size capacitor than the plain foil type of equivalent value, but it will have a disadvantage that it is not able to withstand high DC current compared to the plain type. When we see or when we compare foil type and etch type, or the plain type and etch type aluminum electrolytic capacitor, this has the etched foil type has an advantage of smaller size, but it will not withstand DC currents, whereas when compared with etch type, foil type of aluminum electrolytic capacitor can withstand better DC currents compared with the etch type, and it will be of a bigger size when compared with the etch foil type of capacitors. Okay, and for the etched foil type of capacitor, the tolerance value is also very high, like it is up to some 20 percentage. And coming to the values of capacitance for the aluminum electrolytic capacitor, it will range from 1 microfarad to up to 47,000 microfarads. Etched foil types of electrolytic capacitors are best suited in coupling, where a DC blocking and bypassing circuit, plain foil types are better suited, and also smoothing capacitor in power supply. So depending upon the construction, we classify or we can separate where we can use this kind of capacitors, right? So etch foil is best suited for coupling, whereas foil type is best suited in bypassing or DC blocking, as well as in the power supply for smoothing the capacitors. And coming to the second type of electrolytic capacitor, we have tantalum electrolytic capacitors. Tantalum electrolytic capacitor or tantalum beads are available in both foil type and dry type. That is, we call it as wet and dry type electrolytic capacitors, with dry or solid tantalum being in the most common. Solid tantalum capacitors use manganese dioxide as a secondary terminal and are physically smaller than the aluminum capacitors. The dielectric properties of tantalum oxide is also much better than those of aluminum oxide, giving a lower leakage currents and better capacitance stability, which makes them suitable for blocking, bypassing, decoupling, filtering and timing applications. Okay, so these are the main points regarding tantalum when we compare with aluminum. When compared with aluminum, these are physically small, and as well as because of the dielectric properties of the tantalum when compared with aluminum. These are best suited for most of the applications like which makes suitable for blocking, bypassing, decoupling, filtering, timing capacitors applications. Tantalum capacitors are also polarized and can tolerate being connected to a reverse voltage much more easily than the aluminum types, but are rated at much lower working voltage. So, as we already discussed that electrolytic capacitors are polarized kind of thing, but when we compare aluminum and tantalum, even though when we connect in a reverse voltage or reverse connected, this show a better performance, that is tantalum capacitors show much better performance when compared with aluminum. So tantalum capacitors are used in circuits where AC voltage is small compared to the DC voltage. However, some tantalum capacitor type contain two capacitors in one, connected negative to form a non-polarized capacitor for used in low voltage AC circuit as a non-polarized device. So this is a polarized device. If you want to make it as a non-polarized device, you can connect two capacitor in one and connect negative to form a non-polarized. Generally, the positive lead is identified on the capacitor body by a polarity mark, with the body of the tantalum bead capacitor being an oval geometrical shape, and the typical values of these capacitors will be from 47 nanofarads to 470 microfarads. Okay, this is all about tantalum and aluminum electrolytic capacitor. Physically, if we see, aluminum are smaller in size. Tantalum are smaller in size, and both are available in polarized size. And if we want to see a non-polarized kind of thing, we can see that in tantalum. In tantalum, because of the better performance, tantalum capacitors are mostly used in almost all electronic circuits, blocking, bypassing, decoupling, etc. Okay, so this is about tantalum and aluminum type of electrolytic capacitor. Based upon the size and the performance and properties what they exhibit, the selection of particular electrolytic capacitor will be made. So if we see, or if we compare tantalum and electrolytic capacitors, electrolytic capacitors are widely used capacitors that we can accept because of the low cost and small in size. But there are three easy ways to destroy electrolytic capacitors. That is, we can destroy an electrolytic capacitor by three ways. That is, we should be careful regarding these 3 points. That is, it can be destroyed either by over voltage, that is excessive voltage will cause the break, will cause current to leak through the dielectric, resulting in a short circuit condition. This may occur. Or because of the reverse polarity. Reverse voltage will cause self-destruction of the oxidized layer and it will cause failure. And the third one is over temperature. Excessive heat dries out the electrolytic and shortens the life of an electrolytic capacitors. So these are the 3 points which can destroy the electrolytic capacitor. That is why these 3 points should be kept in mind when we handle an electrolytic capacitor. That is over voltage, next one is reversed polarity, and the third one is over temperature. All these 3 points should be kept in mind, otherwise it will cause a total damage to the capacitor circuit. And otherwise, when we maintain all these 3 points, we can have the electrolytic capacitors in small size and with the large or wide variety of capacitive ranges within a small size is available with the electrolytic capacitors, and this point make this these kind of capacitors, that is electrolytic capacitors, the most commonly used electrolytic capacitor. And coming to the cost wise also, electrolytic capacitors are cheaper. So these make electrolytic capacitors the most commonly used capacitors in any electronic circuit. Okay, so these are the main types of capacitors that any circuit possesses, that is right from dielectric capacitor. Next we have seen what is meant by film capacitors. Next we have seen what is meant by ceramic capacitors, and finally we have discussed what is meant by electrolytic capacitors and the different types of electrolytic capacitors, and their main properties have been discussed in this video. And in the next coming video we'll discuss some other points relating to capacitors. Okay, thank you.